Imagine waking up in Atlanta, Georgia, sipping your morning coffee, scrolling through your feed, and boom, there it is. First group of white South African refugees arrive in the US. And just like that, the internet broke in half.
Shame on the United States. Shame. Shame on Donald Trump and his whole administration. So check this out, y'all. White South Africans granted refugee status by the Trump administration. Now let that sink in. Look at these people. These people are the descendants of the colonizers and the apartheid rulers in South Africa. So the government over there is using their constitution to help give land back to the native Africans. They're buying land from South Africans who own 70% of all the land. And you go, how did they do that? They stole it. Then you got Elon Musk and Donald Trump talking about there's a genocide happening. There's no genocide. The only genocides that are happening right now are in Gaza, the Congo, South Sudan. Those are really genocides, and those are really refugees. Then you got Trump, remember, talking about they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, when he's referring to Haitians. That's not happening either, and it wasn't happening. They have real status to be here, to work. But these guys, these Afrikaners, these poor farmers, they just, for whatever reason, can't make money in South Africa. They haven't been on their job. You notice there ain't no millionaires and billionaires Afrikaners coming to the United States as refugees. It's the poors. They got money for wars but can't feed the poor. And I'm talking to you, white Americans, especially the ones who are in the lower class of poor. This really affects you. These Afrikaners are about to come over here, get free housing, free medical. They're going to get jobs. They're going to get education. And meanwhile, a lot of you are going to continue to live in rural areas, in your trailers, in your apartments, and you're going to lose your jobs because of Doge. These guys are here to get all the resources. America, that's a shame, y'all. That is a shame.
How racist this new administration truly is. This is some of the most racist shit I've ever heard of. In 1913, South Africa had white supremacists running the country, and they created apartheid, which created segregation and discrimination laws against black South Africans. It was whites only South African businesses, whites only South African movie theaters, whites only South African swimming pools. South Africa was on that racist shit just like America treated black folks. So in 1913, white South Africans took over South Africa with force. White South Africans stole land owned by black South Africans. Fast forward to 2025. Three of Trump's biggest supporters are three of the most richest men on the planet. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and David Sachs are three billionaires that fully support Trump. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and David Sachs are all white South Africans who were born in South Africa, white supremacy, and apartheid. Elon Musk is a white South African white supremacist. South Africa now has a black president. This South African president wants equality in South Africa. He wants the racism to stop, and he wants everyone to be treated equally. Trump and Elon Musk heard about this black South African president wanting equality. Trump immediately stopped all funding to South Africa. There are only 7% of white people in South Africa, but those white people own 70% of the land in South Africa because they stole most of that land from black South Africans. The new black South African president put a new law in place to right the wrongs that were done to black South Africans that had land stolen from them. Just like when European settlers stole America from the natives. Because the South African president wants to give back land that white South Africans stole from black South Africans, that's why Trump and his administration are saying white South Africans are being persecuted and done wrong. But white South Africans are not under persecution.
I mean, the facts are there is no systematic prosecution of white Afrikaner farmers. For the Trump administration to take the view that there's somehow systematic persecution, it's actually problematic and troublesome and damning on the way the Trump administration is receiving its information.
How are they being prosecuted when they the ones who stole the land from black South Africans? Black South Africans are the ones who originally owned that land. What's so wrong with doing right and giving black South Africans their land back? But see, this is the thing. South Africa is not even seizing land like Donald Trump is saying they are. It's a lawful process that's handled in the courts of South Africa. If someone stole land from you and your family, wouldn't you want it back? I did my research and I found out how
So let me get this straight. Trump banned Muslims, caged black and brown kids, and called Haiti a shithole, but somehow he's rolling out the carpet for white South Africans, who, mind you, claim they're being oppressed by the very people that they oppressed for generations. So this is not refugee policy. It's plantation nostalgia, dressed up as immigration reform. This entire push to rescue South African farmers is built on a narrative, not facts. Yeah, there's some violence in South Africa. Yeah, some white farmers have been attacked. But the majority of the victims, they're not white. And the attacks aren't racially targeted. They're part of a broader crime crisis. South Africa has deep issues, yes. But this ain't some ethnic cleansing of white people. This lie got amplified by conservative media, white nationalist forums, and people who think land redistribution is oppression. When really, it's just justice knocking on the door. So let's be honest about what this really is. It's America offering comfort to people who feel uncomfortable with equality. That's it. Because these so-called refugees are being fast-tracked for protection. Black asylum seekers from war-torn nations are being detained, deported, and ignored. They're not being offered farms and safety. They're being offered ice and silence. This has never been about safety. It's about whiteness being treated like it's in danger anytime it's not in power. But here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to let people run from the consequences of apartheid, land here, and act like they're victims of a woke world gone mad. No. You don't get to gentrify racial trauma across borders. You don't get to weaponize your discomfort with progress and call it persecution. And if you're feeling displaced by land reform, good, because the land wasn't yours to begin with. So if you think Trump's weak attempt to play savior gives you the green light to come over here and start disrespecting people, think again, because the rest of us, we don't play like that. Go find you something safe to do, because bringing apartheid to a new zip code is the fastest way to find out this ain't the America you thought you were walking into. Stay safe.
So listen, before I go to sleep, I need to tell you guys this, okay? So I chatted with someone from South Africa who is Afrikaner today, and who is going to be applying to come to the United States. And she was trying to explain her plight because she was seeing that a lot of people do not want Afrikaners over here as refugees. Okay? And I'm going to strictly say that. They don't want Afrikaners. We don't want Afrikaners over here as refugees with refugee status. Okay? So she continues to explain herself, and she does not mention anything about genocide. She doesn't mention anything about someone taking her land from her. She doesn't mention any of that as to the reason why she plans on coming to America with her children. This is the reason that she gave, which is not a qualification for a refugee status, okay? She said that she couldn't find a job. Not only did she say she couldn't find a job, but she said she couldn't find a job because of her race. She believed she couldn't find a job because of her race. And she also believed that her children did not have a future in South Africa. That doesn't qualify to be a refugee. That honestly does not qualify. Do you know how many people in the United States of America can't find work? Do you know how many people just lost their jobs in the United States of America because of this administration? I mean, do they have refugee status? Can they fly anywhere and be like, oh, okay, well then, give me food, clothing, shelter, and everything, and your government needs to pay for it because we're refugees because we can't find a job here in the United States of America. Now, I'm not gonna lie. She was like, I don't have anything against my people in South Africa, nor do I, and I'm not racist. I'm just Afrikaner, and I just want to find a job. But I said, but you're not a refugee. Not because not because you can't find a job. Simply because you can't find a job, you think you're a refugee? If that's the case, You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you a refugee. She said nothing about any of the quote unquote genocide, any of the oh my gosh, all she said was she couldn't find a job. That's it. And the White House is allowing this.
Y'all, don't worry about these white South Africans coming here. They about to be the new help. You heard me. They are about to be the new help. They got rid of all the people tending the land. All the immigrants that were tending the land are gone. So what they about to do, replace them with the white South African workers. Y'all gonna be working to feed black folks. As y'all should. Get y'all asses over here and do y'all goddamn job. Y'all think y'all getting away from us. Y'all not. Y'all just gonna be working for us. Come on in the room. See, Trump knew he couldn't get our asses out there. There's no way in hell you're gonna get black folks out there to work no kind of land. But he could say, hey, these South Africans are being suppressed. Their land is being taken away from them. They need to come over here and seek retribution. And get y'all asses in the field where the fuck y'all belong. Make sure y'all picking every fucking vegetable and don't miss out on anything. Y'all not getting away from black folks. Y'all gonna be around us a lot more. And unlike the ones in South Africa, we don't give a fuck. You're not gonna be able to call us colored. You're gonna get your dome rocked. So be careful, tread lightly. And remember, we don't see you as African. We see you as colonizers of an apartheid. Welcome to America.
So this post is specifically for the people of color, black and brown, who are Trump supporters. Yesterday, he imported 49 white Afrikaners, giving them express refugee status, protective immigration status in America, under the fake claim that they are undergoing a genocide in South Africa. That's a lie. White Afrikaners still control the majority of the land in South Africa, and they still have retained the majority of the wealth. Americans, our tax dollars, funded their flight. They're going to receive housing on your dime. They're going to receive clothing. They're going to receive food, everything they need to sustain life in America. All while he's deporting brown and black people who have also gone through the immigration process, who have green cards, who are here legally. Don't y'all know this man is a Klansman? And he is showing you today that this is America, triple K to the A. Wake up.
The devil works hard, but Elon must work harder. I got on TikTok yesterday and I saw a bunch of videos of people saying how we are supposed to receive a bunch of new Afrikaners. I hope I'm saying it right. But a bunch of white people who are in Africa are coming in as refugees. So I was like, hold on. Let me open the comment section and see what's happening. I opened the comment sections. A bunch of white Africans, as well as South Africans, they are in the comments saying, what are y'all talking about? Refugees. These people are not refugees. They are not experiencing any racism in South Africa. Because that's what the story is. That's what the Trump administration is saying, is that these people that are coming to America, they're flying in tonight. They're coming in tomorrow. They're saying that they are fleeing South Africa because they are experiencing racism from the black Africans there. When I tell you 2025 is 2025ing, because I don't have any other words. So we're about to have a bunch of Elon Musk coming in here. But I do want them to know that this ain't no South Africa. So y'all gonna be learning a whole lot of new things. I'm just gonna leave it as that.
I welcome the white South Africans. Did you notice something about the South white Africans when they came in? And these are the type of people that Trump wanted. It's not based off color, y'all. It's for me is this. These people came in with our flag. The Democratic Party are continually under Biden. They have let in people who hate this country, who are talking about America needs to be burned to the ground, and America, and they're burning our flags, but all in the name of their darker skin complexion. These white South Africans come in, all of them patriotic with the American flag. The Democrats don't want them here because they know they're going to vote for Trump, right? So they don't mind importing immigrants here that'll vote for Democrats, though. That's really what it's all about. Their hatred for white people. But we want people in this country that actually love America, right? If you don't love this country, then don't go here. And I tell anybody here, whether you're black, whoever you are, if you don't like the country, you got the freedom to leave.
So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. We're shutting down immigration from everywhere here on earth, except in South Africa, for a very specific group of people in which we are lying about the reason why we need to bring them here. I wonder what is it that's different about those people that we want to bring them here, and why we're bringing so many while shutting down anything that's other. What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to increase a certain group? What's happening? What's happening? I remember they did this years ago. If people remember, they did this with Cuban people. And then all of a sudden, a certain demographic of people, numbers went back up. Well, as they're doing this, I guess I'll just join in and say that people with red hair are black as well. So maybe we can boost our numbers as well.
I just need a Republican to make this make sense. Trump pretty publicly ran on migrants, right? Like, no more people coming in. Some of the people that are here have to go. Like, it was pretty public. We all saw it, right? He also just signed an executive order prioritizing the resettlement of South African refugees to the United States. Hear that again, and keep in mind who's the most famous South African that you know. Some people can't name a second South African, to be honest. So you have South Africans, specifically of European descent, which they got there because they left the Netherlands and they came down and they colonized South Africa. That's just a fact. That's how that happened. That's how you get white South Africans. And they're now getting priority to come in to America. Priority, like when you're like getting on a plane and they're like, priority, come get on the plane first, immediately, like right now. That's what's happening. I ask all that because like the big question behind that for me is like, is it because they're white? Like, is that it? And if you hit me with the word Jenny and you're like, that's why, where are the executive orders for the other Jennies occurring to get safety here in America? I don't know.
Well, aren't these just the healthiest looking refugees I've ever seen? The most nourished, the most well kept, the cleanest, most well dressed refugees I've ever seen. I've never seen such stunningly healthy, good looking refugees in my life. Thank God America offered them refuge from South Africa. Thank God. They look like they could not have even stood another day there. Thank God.
It's like we're living in Twilight Zone. I don't get it. We're going to deport people. We're going to snatch them up from their homes, regardless if anybody shows proof of who they are and anything else. Like, ICE agents doesn't have to prove who they are, and people don't have to prove if they have citizenship or green card status or anything that protects them to stay in this country. Sometimes you could be a U.S. citizen and get deported on accident, I guess. And then even when you find out, I guess it's just above our heads now. On top of all of this, we're now giving refugee status to white South Africans. What the fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck?
Trump is bringing 49 white South Africans to America. So this is the best case scenario that can happen to them, okay? They don't just come to America. They come to Atlanta, Georgia specifically, okay? All 49 of them park their cars downtown and go inside a Waffle House because someone told them that this is the best place to go to experience the cuisine of the city. Feel me? They go in there and there's only 3 Waffle House employees. Not 5, but only 3. You know, 2 of them called off, whatever, right? They get in there, all 49 of them, and they get the true Waffle House experience. You feel me? And they get mad. They get upset. And what do they know best? What do they know best? They start saying anti-black shit. They start saying racist shit. They start acting like they run the place. And guess what happens? As Hot by Young Thug and Gunna is playing in the background, these 3 Waffle House employees beat every single white South Afrikaner in the fucking Waffle House. All 49 of them. Kick them out the damn Waffle House, right? So as these 49 white South Africans are demoralized, they go back to their cars. But what do they see? Each one of their cars busted in. Every single window busted in. And not only that, every single car is booted. Every single car is booted. And it takes $200 to unboot each car. And as they're processing everything that's going on, some water boys walk past him and start roasting him, making fun of them, clowning them, posting them on TikTok and everything. And as a result of all that has happened on this one trip back to America, to Atlanta, they not only leave America, they don't even go back to South Africa. They go to the fucking Netherlands. They go back to the fucking Netherlands. They start calling themselves what they are, which is Europeans. They start learning Dutch again. And they go back to where their racist-ass ancestors used to stay at, which is the fucking Netherlands. These niggas is not South African. They're not from there. They just circumvent the whole fucking process and go back to the Netherlands. This is the best case scenario that can happen. So what I'm saying to the GOP, to Trump, bring these niggas to Atlanta. Bring these niggas to a Waffle House. I want this shit. I feel like this shit will actually happen. Make it possible. Make it happen.
When I say certain people have the complexion for protection, this is what I mean. These are the white South African refugees that are coming to the United States after Elon Musk lied and spread misinformation on Twitter, saying that these white South Africans were experiencing G-side by the political party in charge. Here's the timeline of events. On July 31st, 2023, Elon Musk tweets, "They are openly pushing for G-side of white people in South Africa." Then he tags the president of South Africa and says, "Why do you say nothing?" So as you can see, Elon Musk has been fueling this fire and spreading this misinformation for fucking years now. Fast forward, Elon Musk spends $300 million getting Donald Trump elected. Donald Trump wins. And the first day in office, January 20th, 2025, when he gets inaugurated, Trump signs an executive order ending the refugee admissions program. An executive order that basically says the United States lacks the ability to absorb large number of migrants, and in particular, refugees, because of the availability of resources for Americans. Essentially declaring that the refugees coming to the United States were competing for resources against Americans. Elon Musk then uses the power of being in Trump's ear all the fucking time and up his ass and turns Trump against South Africa. Even though the claims of white G-side are ruled not real by a South African court, literally 4 days later signs an executive order called Addressing Egregious Actions in the Republic of South Africa, where he cuts off all funding to South Africa. Then he fast-tracks white South African citizenship while rejecting all other refugees. Here's where the story gets better. Here's where I say that they had the complexion for protection, because these white South Africans are descendants of mainly Dutch and French colonial settlers who first came to South Africa more than 300 years ago. They were at the heart of the apartheid government that systematically oppressed non-whites. Yeah, they're the ones who get to come here on an air-conditioned plane, walking through the airport, welcome to the United States, given flags for a fucking photo op. Meanwhile, the Afghan refugees who helped the U.S. military during the U.S. military operations in Afghanistan are in dangerous limbo after the Trump administration ordered a pause on the refugee resettlement program. Meanwhile, this is how black Haitian immigrants are welcomed to the United States. Meanwhile, other refugee populations that are non-white, this is how they come to the United States. I'm not saying that motherfuckers gotta look like their story or look like they struggled, but there's a clear differentiation between people who have valid concerns, valid refugee claims, and seeking asylum versus these motherfuckers that are coming in shorts and look like they're well-fed and look like they have good clothes on their fucking backs. And if you really want to deconstruct all the fucking hypocrisy all the fucking way, why is it that the reason that the U.S. refugee resettlement program was scrapped was because the refugees were competing for resources against Americans, yet the literal website that's helping them resettle into the United States is openly saying that these white South Africans are going to receive financial assistance, a one-time federal grant, $1,275 per person, cash assistance, supplemental nutrition assistance program, yeah, food assistance, food stamps, housing assistance, medical assistance, work and employment support. And to top it all off, they won't have to even prove that they were being persecuted. The complexion for motherfucking protection.
The Afrikaners that are fleeing to America as refugees, that ain't gonna work. I moved to South Africa. Let me tell you, I had met these people. When I came here, I had no idea these kind of people even existed on the earth. I felt like I was in a time warp taking me back to the 1800s. Let me tell you why it's not going to work in America. First of all, America judges you by what you look like. Okay, that goes for everybody. How you dress, your swag, how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you behave. They're going to fail every single one of those tests. Fashion is not really a thing here. It's not like commercial fashion in South Africa. People wear anything. They don't care really too much about how their hair looks, how they're dressed. It doesn't matter. And that's kind of a great thing. It's not pretentious. You can like take your wig off, you know what I mean, and just chill. There is fashion, but the fashion is really more like the South African, the true, authentic cultural fashion. Now that's lit. But like anything else is just like, meh, it's so generic, right? So these people, they don't really dress very nicely. They just honestly look like they came out of like, off of a farm, honestly. Like they don't even try. So that's going to fail a lot. People are going to judge you based on what you look like. Welcome to Babylon. You're about to find out how people will judge you. White people will look at you up and down and be like, and X you out based on how you're dressed. Looking at your shoes, your hair. Like they're so backwards in their mentality about how they feel about black people that they're just backwards in everything else too. So there's no swag. Even when they think they're dressing nice, it's just like, even if they put these Afrikaners in like an all-white supremacist KKK area, no grown man in America, I don't care who you are, wants to pay for another grown man and his family to live on his taxpayer money. They don't need KKK members that bad to where they have to ship them in from South Africa and take care of them for a year. Not in the climate and the economic strain that America is in right now. Don't nobody want to foot the bill for no old fat dude who has like no swag. I mean, like even if Trump, because they're saying that Trump is giving them a clothing voucher or clothing funding and housing and food and vehicles and cell phones. Afrikaners aren't used to paying prices like that. So they'll probably take the clothing funding, which I don't know how much it will be, but they'll probably be, go to like any mall or any store anywhere and be like, oh no, I'm not buying that for that price. So they'll find themselves at Walmart. And even though our Walmart is shitting on everything out here, it's still going to be Walmart in America. So you're never going to pass the swag test ever, right? So just off rip on sheer appearance, it's a fail. Because you're in America, America's pretentious, you are judged based on how you look and carry yourself. I stated that point. Then there's going to be the part where they open their mouth. And it's going to be like, where are you from? A French accent is at least sexy. But we know a French accent. Everyone loves a British accent. We've heard that. We know Australian, it's a little quirky, but we know that's a distinct accent. We know that one. Then German, that's a whole different accent. We know that one. But when you pop out with that Dutch accent, black, people are just going to say, where are you from? And that's where the problem is going to start, right? Right there. Because when I have talked to any Afrikaner out here and said, oh, where are you from? I'm genuinely want to know, like, are you from the Netherlands? Are you from Britain? Are you from Germany? Like, where are you from? And you'll go through 10 minutes of this whole charade about, I am from Africa. It's like,
Okay, but where are you from? Where was your grandparents from? 5 generations, Africa. I'm born here. I am African. No, you're not. You're clearly white. Where are you? I'm just trying to find out where you're from. Was it, I just want to know your roots are British or are they Dutch? It's not a hard question. So by the time you get an answer for that, you're already going to think this person is out of their mind. They don't know who they are. They believe that they're Africans. So that's going to be the other problem. Americans don't even believe, honestly, that white people can even be Africans. Because that's not where you came from. We all know that Africa is the land of black people. It's a chocolate factory. And you didn't come from there. We all know that you came in because you call it, like, we know this already. So we don't even believe, that's going to annoy you right off the bat. And then finally, when they say where they're from, by that time, they would have spewed out so much hate and 1800s, like way back thinking that nobody's on but them. Nobody's on that page. So you're not, white people in America don't think like that. I mean, there's racism in America, yes, but it's a different type of a racism. And the majority of the people, the regular everyday people, aren't. So you're not going to even get along with white people. You think you're going to go to land, oh, there's, 250 million white people there. They don't think like you. They do not. And American taxpayers do not want to pay for another white immigrant. They don't. We already did that with Ukraine. We did that already. Okay, America is suffering financially. So that's just one way it's not going to. The swag, the culture, how they speak, you will find out. It will blow your mind. How they look at black people. Out here in South Africa, white people stay in their spaces. Indians are kind of sprinkled all about, but they still stay in their own groups. I'm glad that the Afrikaners are leaving because the real South Africans are so nice. They really are. Y'all don't even deserve to be around them. You don't deserve their kindness. You don't. Go on to America so that you can meet black folks who are empowered. You're not used to that. That's going to be a whole culture shock. If you haven't been outside of South Africa and seen how empowered black people are outside of this place, you need to, just like African Americans need to come here to South Africa and experience a different type of freedom over here, you need to do that. You need to experience life without the police. Seriously. And then walk into a bank, everybody's black. Walk into a grocery store, everybody's black. Walk into anywhere, everybody's black. It's so beautiful. This is the real American dream. This is the African American dream in Africa. But out in South Afrikaners, y'all not gonna make it. Pop off on a nigga, on a white person. All you got to do is just give him a beer. Give him a beer and wait. That hate is going to spew out of them, and it's going to be in such a way that's just like, ew. Like, but they're so entitled about, like, they're different. They're different. It ain't going to work. Then everything is so overpriced, they're not going to be able to handle that. Then it's raining blue in Texas and California now. What you going to do about the navy blue rain falling out the sky? You're not going to, the food is so toxic. You think you're fat now? You won't even be able to digest it. Your body won't be able to handle it. It's really bad. On top of that, our ports are empty. There's a trade war with everyone. So you're going at the absolute worst possible time when, if you thought prices were high before, whatever's left in reserves is about to be inflated beyond belief. This is just a joke. I promise, if you open up your mouth to anybody, black or white or whoever, because we have the real Rainbow Nation in America, that's where there's really at, and we integrate with one another, and we have been marrying, playing, working, all of that together for a very long time. If you pop off and say any of that kind of stuff that you feel in your heart, you're going to get nizak, dizzy, fizzak, is out, is on a spizzot, TKO, out. It is not going to fly. I just see a disaster in the making. I'm sipping tea, watching how all this unfolds. I think it's going to be hilarious.
Now hold up. White refugees from South Africa in 2025 to America. You know, this stirred up the African American community like someone dropped hot sauce in a pot of gumbo. Let's get into it. So, here's what happened. A group of white Afrikaners, yes, Afrikaners, landed in the United States claiming racial persecution back home in South Africa. The U.S. State Department issued a statement saying they are victims of unjust racial discrimination and granted them refugee status. And just like that, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everything exploded. African Americans had thoughts. Oh, did they have thoughts? And they didn't hold back. Now, let's not pretend this was just another immigration headline. This hit a nerve, because for African Americans, whose ancestors were enslaved, brutalized, and denied basic human rights in this very country, the idea of white South Africans seeking refuge in America triggered a cosmic irony that's almost too much to process. It was like the plot twist no one saw coming, and yet, it made perfect sense in a world where up is down and down is Elon Musk naming his kid XAA-12. Reactions came fast and furious. Some people were genuinely confused. Others were laughing so hard they couldn't breathe. And then there were those who got serious and said, let's unpack this. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Unpack it, piece by piece. First, the historical context. South Africa's apartheid system, which lasted from 1948 to the early 1990s, was built on brutal racial segregation. Under that regime, white South Africans had all the power, all the land, and all the privilege. The system didn't just disadvantage black South Africans, it destroyed generations. And now, a few decades into a democratic South Africa, some white Afrikaners claim they are the ones being discriminated against. Now, when African Americans hear this, you already know the response. Wait, what? The descendants of slave owners, colonial beneficiaries, and apartheid architects are now refugees because things aren't as sweet as they used to be. That didn't sit right with a lot of people. But here's where it gets deeper. A lot of African Americans didn't just react with memes and jokes, they started asking real questions. What does it mean to be a refugee? Is this really about discrimination? Or is it about discomfort with change? Many black commentators pointed out that systemic inequality in America is still very much alive, and for white Afrikaners to come here and receive refugee status raised eyebrows. Like, you mean to tell me, a black American can get pulled over for driving a nice car in the wrong neighborhood, but a white Afrikaner can get full refugee support and housing because the political climate back home shifted? Some people started drawing connections. They said, is this what privilege looks like on an international level? Imagine you've had everything handed to you for generations: land, opportunity, education. And when things get rough, you pick up your bags and say, we out, and the world opens its doors. But let's also talk about the flip side. There were African Americans who showed compassion, who said, look, if someone's truly in danger, they should be protected. They emphasized that no one deserves to live in fear, whether you're black, white, South African, Syrian, or Sudanese. But even those voices added a caveat. That doesn't mean we can ignore context or rewrite history. Some African Americans asked, where was this energy when we needed it? When Haitians came to the U.S. seeking refuge, they were detained. When Central Americans crossed the border with children, they were met with tear gas. But white South Africans, welcome to suburbia. That double standard didn't go unnoticed. Now, you might be wondering, what drove these Afrikaners to leave in the first place? They say they're facing farm attacks, economic marginalization, and a government they feel is hostile toward white landowners. They cite the land reform policies, the rhetoric around expropriation without compensation, and affirmative action policies. For them, it's not about losing privilege, it's about survival. But African Americans are asking, what about us? Because the land their ancestors tilled was taken from them. The wealth they helped build never trickled down. And the trauma, still unhealed, So when someone else says, we're oppressed too, it better come with receipts. Now let's get into the cultural reactions. TikTok lit up with videos, from funny skits to serious commentary. One creator said, so white people from Africa are coming to America because they feel racially targeted. Do they want to switch? Another joked, if they need a racism starter pack, we got hoodies, Skittles, and a police scanner. It was dark humor, but rooted in truth. But don't get it twisted. This wasn't just about comedy. People were reflecting deeply about what it means to flee, about who gets to be a victim, and about how race, power, and history play out on a global stage. One powerful video showed a young African American woman reading the refugee application aloud, then pausing and saying, my grandmother had to walk to a segregated school in 1954 and she didn't get refugee status. She just got trauma. That hit hard. Others wondered what life would be like for these Afrikaners in the States. Would they assimilate into white suburban America? Or would they cling to their South African identity and form their own tight-knit communities? Would they embrace American values? Or try to recreate their old life here? And what about Afrikaner culture? Well, believe it or not, it's already started making its way into small corners of America. There are Afrikaans-speaking enclaves popping up in parts of Texas and Montana. You can find borrowers at farmers markets, and one guy even opened a biltong store in Utah. You read that right, biltong in Utah. Some African Americans are watching this unfold with a mix of curiosity and concern. They wonder, will they adapt to the social dynamics here? Will they understand the Black American experience, or will they see themselves as outsiders who don't see race? Because that line never really works out well, does it? It's also sparked conversations about immigration more broadly, about who gets in, who gets help, and who gets forgotten. And about how the same country that once built its foundation on racial inequality is now being asked to shelter those who once benefited from it elsewhere. But let's be clear, this isn't about blaming individuals. Most of these Afrikaners weren't the architects of apartheid. They were born into a system that collapsed before they even had a chance to vote. And now they find themselves in the middle of a world that's shifting fast. Just like everyone else. Still, context matters, history matters, and how we respond matters. So what do African Americans want? They want fairness, equity, consistency. If one group gets support, others should too. If one story gets heard, so should theirs. And if the doors are open for one, they should be open for all. At the end of the day, it's about humanity. People move because they need safety, opportunity, or a new start. But we have to talk about who gets to move, who gets welcomed, and what baggage they carry with them, both literal and historical.